The movie opens with a mysterious scene. We see a girl dressed in a striking red suit sitting on her bed. Suddenly, something strange begins to happen. An unseen force, something invisible, starts removing the jewelry and the veil she is wearing. And here, we get our first shocking reveal. This girl has actually been married to a demon with the help of an old woman. The scene then cuts to a completely different setting. Now, we are introduced to 3 girls. All 3 live in the same house, and together, they run a small business, a chicken shop. We see them arriving at their shop, getting ready for the day, and starting to prepare the orders for their customers. The story then shifts back to their home, where we meet Rudy and her husband Bowo's daughter. The little girl sweetly requests her father to drop her at school, since all the ladies of the house had already left early to manage the shop. Bowo agrees. Just then, Bowo's brother, Bayu, arrives. He is carrying a rooster in his hands. Bayu doesn't really work. He spends his days at home, arranging and watching cockfights with his roosters. Seeing this, Bowo gets upset with him. He confronts Bayu, saying, "Is this really a life? Look at your wife even while being pregnant. She goes out to work. Doesn't that make you feel guilty?" But Bayu shamelessly replies, saying that what he's doing is actually part of something much bigger. Now, we move to the breakfast table, where the whole family has gathered. Here, Bowo's mother is extremely angry at Renty. The reason? It was Renty's duty to prepare breakfast for everyone, but today, she left for the shop without making it. During this heated argument, Renty feels bad, but she sets aside her emotions and goes to prepare breakfast for everyone. Before leaving, she asks Gita to drop her daughter off at school. The old lady once again gets furious at Renty, asking, "Can't you even take your own daughter to school?" To this, Renty explains, "Actually, I also have to drop Bowo at his workplace, and then I need to deliver the chicken orders. If I take her to school myself, all the work will be delayed." Just then, Bayu comes outside. He gives some money to his mother, the old lady, and also hands part of his savings to Bayu so that Bayu's pregnant wife doesn't face any problems. Soon after, Renty and Bowo leave together for their respective work. On the way, Renty expresses her feelings. She tells Bowo how much it hurts her whenever his mother speaks negatively about her business. She says, "Besides handling all the housework, I do so much extra work as well. For what? So that our family can survive and live better. But apart from you and me, nobody else works in this house. Even then, your mom doesn't show me a little bit of love or appreciation." While having this conversation, the two finally reach the port, where Bowo works. After dropping him off, Renty heads towards her own work. She flavors and prepares the chicken orders, and later, when she returns home, she notices something unusual. She sees her mother-in-law crying, while Sidi is sitting beside her, trying to console her. Confused, Renty asks them, but instead of answering calmly, her mother-in-law bursts out in anger at her again. Renty's daughter has met with an accident. Hearing this, Renty feels her world shatter. She immediately rushes to the hospital. As soon as she arrives, she meets Gita, who breaks down in guilt and apologizes. Renty feels devastated hearing this. She runs to the doctor and desperately asks about Nina's condition. The doctor explains that Nina's health is in a very critical state. Renty collapses into tears, begging them, "Please save my daughter. Do whatever surgery is needed, no matter how much it costs, just please save her." In her misery, an old woman named Otari approaches her. She kindly offers her some food, saying, "I know you are worried about your daughter, and that's why you haven't eaten anything since morning." Renty is shocked. She had never told this woman about her daughter, but she says nothing. Otari then hands her a piece of paper and tells her, "If the hospital cannot save your daughter, then you should consider other ways of treatment as well." With these words, she leaves. Later, Renty is informed that in order to save her daughter, a very complicated brain surgery will be required, and the expenses are extremely high. She returns home and pleads with the family to sell the house so they can arrange the money. But her mother-in-law and Bayu both refuse outright. Instead of support, her mother-in-law starts scolding her again, blaming her for the accident. With no help from anyone, Renty finds herself trapped with no way out. That's when she remembers the mysterious woman at the hospital, the one who had given her the paper. She rushes to her room, takes out the paper, and contacts the old lady. But Renty feels both fear and guilt. Deep inside, she knows this is wrong. But with no other way left to save her daughter, she finally agrees to go through with the ritual. The witch begins the preparations. She personally bathes Renty, chanting strange incantations over her. Then, she forces a piece of raw chicken liver into Renty's mouth. After that, she dresses her up beautifully, preparing her like a bride. Once everything is ready, the witch leads her into a room that has been decorated in an eerie but grand manner. The entire floor is covered with jasmine flowers. Inside, the witch tells her, "Now you must give your whole body to the demon. From this moment, all your troubles will end." At this point, Renty officially becomes the bride of the demon. And now, the film circles back to the opening scene, the moment we saw at the very start. An unseen force begins stripping off Renty's clothes and jewelry before overpowering her completely. Standing outside, the witch watches everything with delight, extremely happy with the outcome. When the ritual is over, she returns to Renty and gives her specific instructions. She tells her, "From now on, you must feed the demon raw chicken liver every week." The story then shifts to the next morning at home. Ba Yu appears extremely upset because one of his roosters has gone missing. Around the same time, his mother calls him and asks him to take her to the hospital, saying she wants to meet Nina. But Ba Yu, in a bad mood, refuses to go. Meanwhile, CT is also frustrated. Just then, a car suddenly stops in front of their house. To everyone's shock, Nina jumps out of the car and runs happily toward her grandmother. The old lady bursts into joy seeing her granddaughter healthy again, as if nothing had ever happened. Nina is completely fine, back to her old self. CT, however, is stunned. She cannot believe how Nina, who was in such a critical state, could recover so completely in just a single day. Even so, CT refuses to let it go. She starts keeping an eye on Renty and feels that ever since that day, Renty has been behaving very strangely. One day, CT notices Renty has shut all the windows and doors, sitting on the couch in darkness. CT asks her, "Why have you made it so dark?" Just then, the doorbell rings. When CT goes to open the door, she finds none other than Renty and her daughter standing there. CT is startled. She turns back and sees the other Renty giving her a weird, scary smile before walking away. Shocked, CT leaves the two at the door and rushes to check where that other Renty went, but there's no one there now. The whole thing terrifies her. She discusses everything with Gita, telling her she saw two Rentys in the house at the same time. CT even adds that since the night Nina returned from the hospital, Renty's behavior has been very odd. Gita doesn't believe any of it. Right then, they notice Renty going to take a bath. About an hour later, Ba Yu returns home and asks CT to make noodles. CT goes to the kitchen and is startled to see a frog there. The frog jumps into her pan. To get it out, she stabs it with a fork, kills it, and goes to throw it outside. On her way, she notices that Renty is still in the bathroom. CT peeks through the hole in the bathroom door and actually sees Renty doing bizarre, unsettling things. Using the same hole, CT records a video of Renty and then sends it to all her contacts. Unaware of this, the next morning when Renty goes to the market, people look at her and laugh, making fun of her. Renty gets furious. Grabbing the same knife she uses for cutting chicken, she advances towards CT to attack her. Frightened, CT admits that she was the one who circulated the video, but she still refuses to apologize. Instead, she says, "Your behavior has been terrible these past days." Hearing this, Renty becomes even angrier. Her eyes turn like a demon's, and she is just about to stab CT in the throat when Gita rushes in and stops her. Night falls, and we see them all at home. Ba Yu comes late again and sends CT to the kitchen to make noodles. When CT enters, she sees the noodles are already cooking. She's confused. Who made them? She turns around and finds Renty standing behind her in a strange state, giving her a creepy smile. CT is scared. Renty pushes her aside and puts her hand into the boiling water. CT watches in horror as Renty reaches into the boiling water, pulls out a frog, and chews it raw right in front of her eyes. Terrified, CT rushes to wake her brother. But when she looks at the bed, the person lying there is not her brother at all. It is Renty. Suddenly, Renty attacks CT. knocks her down, strangles her to death, then slashes open her belly, tears out her liver with her hands, eats it, and leaves the body there, dying. The next morning, Bayu returns home. Gita tells him to wake Siti from her room because they need to go to the market. Bayu searches Siti's room, but she's nowhere to be found. Worried, he looks all over the house. When he still can't find her, their mother suggests maybe Siti went to her parents' home. Because Siti is missing after the fight with Renti, the mother immediately blames Renti and starts scolding her. Gita defends Renti, saying she didn't do such a thing. In fact, Siti was the one who made and spread the false videos earlier. That night, Renti goes to bathe again. With her hair disheveled and her eyes red, she stands in a frightening way and asks her daughter, "Will you bathe with me?" The child is terrified and asks Gita if she can sleep in Gita's room that night. Gita agrees. The following morning, after the first terrible incident, Renti appears normal for the first time. She goes out into the backyard, and there she finds Siti's dead body. Terrified and devastated, Renti realizes that everything happening around her is the work of the witch. Trembling, she goes back to the witch and asks what is going on. The witch calmly explains that the demon now lives inside her because he has married her. Since she is the demon's bride, anyone who tries to harm her or speak ill of her will be killed by the demon. Hearing this, Renti breaks down and tells the witch she can't bear it anymore. She doesn't want to see more problems in her family. Renti returns home crying. That night, we cut to the brothers at a rooster fight. While the fight is on, Bayu sees a blood-soaked Siti standing among the crowd. He chases after her, but there's no one there. Returning to the fight, he discovers he has lost the match and cannot even take his rooster home. Back at home, he starts seeing strange things around him. These visions lead him to a pit where he finds Siti's dead body. Shattered, he grabs Renti by the throat as soon as he returns and, crying, demands to know why she killed Siti, what had Siti done to her. He is broken. Renti protests, "I didn't do this." The old woman cares only about the family's honor. She advises the brothers, this must not go outside the house. If anyone finds out that the women in our home are killers, people will make a big fuss. The brother obeys his mother and does exactly that. He buries his wife without telling anyone. While he is doing this, he notices Renti heading toward his roosters. He hurries after her, but suddenly Renti picks him up and hurls him far away. Bayu falls at a distance. After that, without even touching him, Renti gouges out both of his eyes. Then she throws him into a place where things and shutters break and fall on top of him, and he dies there. Inside the house, Gita hears Renti's screams and rushes in, because Renti has come to her senses and is now standing beside Bayu's corpse. Gita is terrified. She drags Renti back into the house, locks her in a room, and demands to know how she killed Bayu. Gita becomes harsh with her, but Renti won't explain. In a chilling tone, Renti tells Gita, "I love you more than anyone in this house. If you want to live, don't make me angry." Renti's condition keeps getting worse. When Gita is at a loss, she goes and fetches their neighbor, Mr. Haj, without asking her mother because she cares more about protecting the family's reputation. Mr. Haj comes, looks at Renti, and immediately understands that some other entity, a demon, is dominating her. To find out what is possessing Renti's body, he begins a ritual. During the ritual, Renti smashes the glass he's holding, and everyone realizes that a demon truly inhabits her body. Mr. Hodge, shaken, starts to leave. Before he goes, he tells Gita, "Everything will be alright if you pray." He had just shut the door when Renti, who is locked in her room, appears and whispers in his ear, "Stay away from this if you want to stay alive." The next morning, Renti's husband Bowo returns home. Gita and the mother tell him the whole story, but he refuses to believe it at first. They warn him, "Don't open the door to the room where Renti is now." He doesn't open the door, but he knocks and then hears a terrifying male voice from inside. "You cannot enter this room." The voice unnerves him. He wants to see who is inside, and when he does, Renti appears in a terrifying state. Suddenly, a demonic eye flashes before his own, and he falls back in fear. Now Bowo begins to believe Gita. Together, he and Gita set out to find a solution. Meanwhile, at home, the mother prepares food for Nina to take to Renti. When Nina brings the food to Renti, Renti looks horrifying. Her teeth have turned yellow, her eyes are white. In a strange tone, she tells Nina, "Open me." Seeing her mother in that condition, Nina begins to cry. Gita had already told Bowo that the day Renty was at the hospital, she had met a strange woman. Back at home, we see that the demon inside Renty threatens little Nina, whispering to her that today they will all be killed. Terrified, Nina runs to her grandmother and tells her everything. Her grandmother immediately calls Bowo and tells him to come home quickly. She has no idea that Renty is standing right behind her. Suddenly, we hear the old woman scream. When Nina arrives, she finds the old woman dead and Renty standing behind her. Bowo and Gita rush home. Nina runs straight to them, trembling with fear. Before anyone can do anything, Renty attacks Bowo. She repeatedly stabs his belly with a large pair of scissors, telling him, "You are no longer Renty's husband." After this, she turns toward Gita, ready to kill her too. Nina's crying, and her plea, "Please, Mom, get better. Please, not this demon who has taken over Renty's body reach something deep inside." The sleeping soul of Renty hears her daughter calling. Slowly, Renty comes back to her senses. She realized with horror what has already happened, that lives had been taken, and that she was about to kill Gita as well. Sobbed and shaken, Renty tells them to run. "Get out of here," she begs Gita and Nina. "Take Nina and go. I could return to myself at any moment. I don't want to kill either of you." Gita takes Nina and flees. Left alone, Renty pours petrol over herself and sets herself on fire. She burns herself alive, and with that act, Renty and the demon story comes to a close. In the film's post-credit scene, we see Gita and Nina far away in another village. They have bought a new house and believe they are finally safe from all that horror. But when Gita opens the wardrobe, she finds the same bridal dress, the one Renty wore at the start, to become the demon's bride. The film ends on this chilling image, suggesting that the nightmare is not entirely over. Thank you for watching.